Hello and welcome to this week's Elite Audio video, and it's been a few weeks since I've sat in front of this camera talking to you all about all things hi-fi related, and there's never been a better time for me to talk about hi-fi as we have returned from the Ascot Hi-Fi show. Firstly, I want to thank every one of you that came into our room there, or rooms, we had two rooms, and the feedback that you gave us was just incredible, and it was, I think, a testament to the quality of the components that we had in each room, which in my opinion are some of the best that you can currently buy. So a quick recap, and I'll bring up some video footage from the event itself, but we had primarily, it was an Electro Compagnie main system, which comprised of the brand new EC5 preamplifier, their new reference pre, and we'll be having a future video that will cover every aspect of that in isolation. However, we had that connected to AW300M monos, powering either a pair of effectively prototype Revival audio loudspeakers, which are their new Grande Reserve speakers, in a sort of a Atlantic 5 size cabinet, but with some very high spec components, Mundorf capacitors, special drivers, wiring, cabinetry, the sandwich construction. They sounded great. And we also had a pair of Revival Audio Figaro M2s, which also sounded great. I think what was interesting, it really contrasted the two different sounds from each loudspeaker. And again, we had people, some preferred the Audio Solutions, some preferred the Revival when we switched. So it just again reiterates my own personal view that the only opinion that ever matters in these things is your own. We had the brand new Aquil, the Scala Optologic Mark III, and again we simply used the Electro Compagnie ECM1 Mark II streamer as the main source. But what a great sound. I think it was interesting when I arrived on the Friday and we were doing the setup, I wasn't quite, I mean, it was a good sound, don't get me wrong, straight off, but it took a bit of tweaking, a bit of fine tuning, and that came down to cabling. And there's an interesting point, in fact, actually, to go off on a slight different tangent, and I'll link this in the video description below. There's an article being published where scientifically they reckon they've proven that expensive cables do make a difference, to do with things like impedance, reflected signal, resistance, and so on. It's a really good article. I'd encourage you to read it. It kind of backs up what we experienced in our showroom event where we did a blind test with cables, and again you guys voted for, thankfully, the best sound came from the most expensive cable. We found, I think, each speaker kind of liked a different cable setup, but primarily we ran with the new high diamond cables, which this new range, starting at Performance Bronze, going all the way up to Top Gold, they are spectacular cables and some of the best I have heard at any price. So if you're looking at a cable upgrade, drop me an email. Here's my email on screen. I will be delighted to make that path to the new high diamond cables painless and easy. It's a worthwhile upgrade. And after you've read the article that explains why good cables work so well and sound so good, you'll be very keen to hear what they do. Anyway, interestingly, also in the other room, we had what you would call the most minimalist of systems. It was simply a wood note combo driving a pair of Atalante Sprint 3s. And it's like a £3,000, what you'd class as MIDI system, if you like. Very compact, very minimalistic, but the sound, wow, what a brilliant sound that room gave. And again, the feedback from you was great, so again, thank you for that. I would be very interested to know what, if you did attend the show, what you thought of it. Like all shows, there's always room for improvement, and it'd be good to know what you liked about the show and what you thought could be better, or if you're comparing it to other shows. I have my own opinions on it, and I'd be more than happy to share those. If you drop me an email and with your own opinions, you'll get mine right back in return. And I think the thing I liked about the show personally was that the people that certainly came into our room, it was such a friendly bunch of happy audiophiles, and I think, I don't know what the collective noun for audiophiles will be. It may well be bunch for all I know. But anyway, I really appreciated your enthusiasm, your openness about your own systems and so on. So thank you for making that such a great experience. And I also apologise the fact that I was unwell on the Sunday. I was not well at all actually the whole weekend. And I had to come back early on the Sunday just to not being well enough to attend. So apologies for anybody that came in on the Sunday looking to find me for me not being there. Thankfully, I'm now fully recovered and here I am talking to you guys once again. So a couple of quick notes then from the show itself. The little system I just mentioned, which of course is the where are we? I've lost my place. Oh yeah, the wood note combo, sorry, and the Sprint 3s. They've just gone off to Lee Dunkley of Audio Grade for a review. I think that's a brilliant system. I think Lindemann currently produce one of the best all-in-one devices between the wood note and the normal music book. There's a combo version in each. Depending on your budget, would depend which one that you would go for. But you know, you've got things like the Tidal Connect, Cobas Connect, and both of these, and they sound great. I've got to say, hats off to Lindemann. I don't know if you saw, there was a review on the entry-level streamer, which was done by Hi-Fi. It got 5 stars, and it retails at, I think it's just under £800. I'll put it up on screen. So the Limetree Bridge II was really, I think they are saying it's one of the best you can buy at that price point, and I certainly wouldn't disagree with that. Other little bits of hi-fi trivia this week. If valves are your thing, Steve Huff over the pond has just published a review on the Cayin Soul 170i, which we can supply, and we do offer that in a 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, I will link the review in the video description below. That is a great review. One of my, I would class that as a desert island amplifier for me, the Cayin Soul 170i. It's phenomenally good, over-engineered, over-spec'd, and Steve loved it, and I'm not surprised. In addition, if you watched some of our recent videos, you'll know that the Audio Physic Classic 25 40th anniversary is now out with limited numbers. They come with an Audio Physic certificate for authenticity, but these have now gone off to the Ear online, and Trevor Butler is about to do a review on those, and I will wait for that with bated breath, but that is going to be something very special. I think if you have a budget of around that sort of £4,000 to £5,000 mark, these are, or should be, on your short list. For the money at that price point, I don't think I've heard a better speaker, or one that's as well made either, which is another aspect of that. We've also just had an update in our showroom, which I'll show you. We've got a brand new carpet that we've just put down. So if you are in the area, please pop in and walk across this beautifully, I would say, deep pile carpet. It's a tactile experience when you're walking. You sit down, listen to great music, as is always the case here at Elite Audio. We love it when you come in. We love to hear about your system. And I think what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks is, the plan is to kind of get things back to basics in hi-fi. And I was chatting with Graham, in fact, some of you that I spoke to at Ascot, which I think is quite pertinent in relation to this video, in that we, I think, get ourselves into an overthink situation, particularly when it comes to upgrades. And I know that recently with myself, another hobby of mine is motorcycling, and I was looking at buying a new motorbike, and I kind of got myself into a situation where I couldn't decide what to buy. One day it'd be this bike, the next day it'd be this bike, this review said this other review said this, and I didn't take my own advice that I should have done. And the advice that I always give is trust what you hear. Well, in my case, you'd have trust what I experienced. Anyway, I managed to have a serious chat with myself and made a choice based on what I actually experienced. And I must admit, I'm so happy with what I chose. It's a fantastic motorcycle. It's a Royal Enfield Bear 650. In fact, if you're local and you're into motorbikes, I'd highly recommend Revolutions in Perth. The team there, Russell, Elliot, the two owners, Gary, who I dealt with, Pam and Chris in service. I never met such a brilliant team of people that made the whole buying experience phenomenal. So a little plug for them. I hope you don't mind. They deserve it, trust me. So the thing I really want to drill down on is this scenario where we get into overthink. We are pulled by one review and the other. And I'm sure a lot of you watching this have been there, and I've spoken to some of you this week who are currently in that scenario. And the thing that you should always do is trust what you hear. The trouble is we like bias confirmation, and that's where it becomes complex, because human nature is we make a choice, but we want someone else to reaffirm we've made the right choice. So what I intend to do over the next few weeks is to look at a range of brands that, depending on your flavour you like, in that range there will be something that will match exactly what you want, and it will be a good decision and one that you won't regret. It's like Electro Compagnie for amplification, or even a phono stage or a CD player or a streamer. They make some of the best devices of any manufacturer, and I've got many clients that will testify that they've put it up against more expensive competition and still bought the Electro Compagnie purely on performance. We then get to loudspeakers. Audio Physic, they've been around for 40 years. They still make some of the world's best loudspeakers. The engineering, the unique specifications and design concepts that they put into their loudspeakers puts them at the cutting edge of technology in that respect. And yet, for a lot of people, I'm sure it's not even on your radar, yet it absolutely should be on your radar. Audio Solutions, all handmade, beautiful design, highly musical. The Revival audio speakers. I can keep going on and on about all the loudspeakers, but any of those brands, if you make a choice to buy them, you're going to like. And I guess this is the point I want to try and make and try and get us to a situation where it's not a case of, am I going to like it? It's, is this going to give me the flavour that I want? And that's where our expertise comes into play. So here's a challenge for you. If you're currently thinking about something, even if you don't live in this country, and obviously you wouldn't be buying from us, but if you are looking for an upgrade, and I've done this with many people, and there'll be many of you, again, watching this where we've communicated directly and I've given you advice on system upgrades that have turned out to be excellent decisions you bought elsewhere. But I think the one thing I pride myself on is my non-biased, trust what you hear approach, which is both rational and designed to take into account your musical tastes, your existing equipment, and how that all matches together. And there is another key element. So the challenge is, if you're looking for an upgrade, drop me an email, please do. I really want to help you make that choice. And I think where I would have appreciated that is in my recent weeks that I spent procrastinating over a motorbike, when I kind of already knew the decision to make. Maybe part of me just likes the research. I think for a lot of you, that is part of the enjoyment of buying a new piece of hi-fi equipment. It's the research that goes into it is part of the fun. But ultimately, the most important part is the listening. And in my case, the actually going out in the motorbike and enjoying it for what it is. And in your case, listening to the equipment and what it does and the satisfaction it brings. So please set me a challenge to help you with your upgrade. I love those types of situations, and it's a genuine privilege that you trust me enough to task me with something as important as that. And I don't take that responsibility lightly at all. It's something that really matters to me, and the outcome for you is something that matters to me greatly. So yeah, give me that challenge. I'd really appreciate it. So there we go, a relatively short video this week. Ascot came and went. It was great to see the people I saw on the Saturday, and again, apologies I wasn't there on the Sunday. But again, the feedback in a room was fantastic. And our next show may well be Edinburgh. We haven't confirmed yet, but we're kind of waiting to see how it's marketed. If you are thinking about going to the Edinburgh show, which is in November, Again, please drop me a message to, and I'll bring my email up on screen. Message me directly. I'd be curious to know if you are intending on going, and that may have an impact as to whether we attend or not. So there we go. As always, a quick favour to ask. Please like and subscribe and turn on notifications for our videos. It does help us greatly. We're a small family business, and that support that you give us, I promise you, is appreciated by every single one of us here. So it takes a few seconds, and I'll thank you in advance if you go ahead and do it if you've not done so already. So as always, have a great week listening to music. I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch these videos, and I think you'll like the ones we've got planned in the very near future, and I look forward to seeing you then. Until then, take care, and thank you for watching this one.